Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another 1/6 scale Hot Toys The Matrix figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at Neo, based off his appearance in the unfortunate flop The Matrix Resurrections. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have pay in 4 and a loyalty program. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new Hot Toys review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, I'm always a fan of these clear plastic overlays. You can print some artwork on top, and you can print some artwork underneath. It adds a lot of depth. You just have to be careful with the glossy plastic though. If you don't take care of this, it will get scratched up and quite cloudy very quickly. We have Neo in the middle, some floating text in various shades of green representing the Matrix Resurrections down below, as well as a Hot Toys exclusive sticker. On the side of the box, more of that Matrix text, as well as his name once more with this almost TV scanline effect. That looks pretty neat actually. Around the back, red pills, blue pills, warnings and legal info, as well as this quote down below that says, "This is not the real world." Removing that slipcover, you can see that all of the wording is gone. Legal info, names, logos, it's no longer here. This box looks a hell of a lot simpler now. And I like that simplicity. It works for the Matrix. Black with the green text is really all you need. You can flip open the front cover to reveal the white rabbit, red pill and blue pill once more that says choice is an illusion. We also have a slipcover showcasing the figure inside. You know what? I reckon Hot Toys might have been in the Matrix when they decided to make this figure. The movie didn't perform that well, like I said in the intro, it was a bit of a flop. As much as I love Keanu, and I do, even I don't know if I'm going to hang on to this guy after this review. First in-hand impressions, yeah, so far so good. It looks like Neo from Matrix Resurrections. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Well, almost everything he comes with. We still have to look at the diorama backdrop and the bullet effect panel thing, and we will in just a second. I just didn't have space for it in this particular segment. Starting off with the display base first. I guess, seeing as though the figure is kind of meh, they wanted to go with a massive display base. So, you can't have anything else on the shelf. You just have to have the meh figure right in the middle. I have thoughts on this base, and we'll get to that in the pros and cons segment. It's very large, the flight pole is all the way back here. I do, however, really like the lenticular print on the surface. How the Matrix text flickers as you move it around, it's a nice touch. Then around the front, Matrix Resurrections, and the waist clamp is just really small for some reason. I don't know why they use such a small waist clamp. It's not like Neo is overly skinny or anything. This, I think, should have been a larger waist clamp. This is pretty perplexing. He does come with some smaller accessories, which is a good thing because he has no guns at all. You do get the sunglasses, the lenses are transparent, we'll pop these on him, and a bottle of blue pills. Now the pills are permanently sculpted in there, you can't tip them out. They are well painted and they do look like individual pills in a translucent bottle. The label is printed and it does say Thomas Anderson as well as the name of the drugs. Will I ever display Neo with this? Yeah, probably, because it's kind of the only accessory he has. Then you get hands. These two, they're my favorites. You get one with some blue pills in his palm, and the other holding a red pill. I would have liked if they were opposing hands, because they're the same side, so you have to choose if you want to have him holding the blue pills or the red pill. I guess that fits for the Matrix, now you have to choose between the pills. I would have preferred not to. Just flip this hand, then we could have had him holding both red and blue. You get some closed fists, one flat palm hand, just two regular open palm hands, as well as two splayed out finger hands. The skin texture is good, they look matte, you've got some wrinkling and nails, and some vein work sculpted in. What we are going to do now, though, is get Neo's backdrop and bullet panel thing out here, and take a closer look at that. What do we want to look at first? I think we'll go with this panel, because to me it's the more exciting of the two. Going with the print, the Matrix text at the top and bottom, doesn't that just defeat the effect of having a clear panel? Now you can't actually see Neo through the panel, all you can see is the Matrix text, especially from this side, it's more matte, whereas on this side it's more glossy and transparent. The bullets you have to plug in yourself. They're adjustable, we'll discuss that in the pros and cons segment. These little teeny tiny ones, they were very difficult to install, so when you're doing it, just take your time. Down below, it does have its own stand of sorts, and as to be expected with Hot Toys, it's made of very cheap clamshell plastic. It looks okay, I like it, but I don't think I love it, at least not yet. When I try it out with Neo, then maybe I'll like it a little bit more. They've gone pretty heavy on the lenticular, even this backdrop, all three panels that are stuck onto the cardboard backing, they're also lenticular. It's a street scene, and as you move this bad boy round, the little matrix text is just flickering everywhere like the display base. Also, the green color palette, I think will help liven up Neo a little bit. Being that he's just in a black outfit, he might look a little bit boring, so adding the display base with its green lenticular surface, and the backdrop with its, like I said, might liven him up a little. It does require a lot of space in the display because when you add the display base on top of the backdrop, it makes it quite deep and extra wide too. I personally don't have room for this. If you do, well, there you go. It looks pretty cool. We will, of course, pop Neo on the base in front of the backdrop and have the bullet effect panel in front of him a little bit later. What we are going to do now, though, is move on to Neo. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Except the sunglasses, had to have the sunglasses. I'm going to try and not be too harsh, right now at least, because, we're just getting stuck in, we're warming up to him. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you do have some kind of affinity towards Matrix Resurrections. This figure is okay, he's mid at best. The outfit is just so boring, it's all black without any extra details, no straps or harnesses or buckles or belts or anything. Just a black fabric outfit. The best part about him is the head sculpt without the sunglasses on. Then the second best thing, the proportions. He looks pretty real. I like how he fills out the outfit, and there is some padding that helps with that. Everything else, it's kind of paint by numbers for Hot Toys. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Neo's head sculpt. So you know how there are those sculpts that when you pop the sunglasses on or the glasses on, that the likeness improves and suddenly it's there and you can see who that character is supposed to be, whereas before it was slightly soft? Yeah, this is the opposite of that. These glasses, they're just terrible. They're very thick, they're bulky, they stick out way past the side of his face. I reckon my granny had a pair of sunglasses like these. So for me, you might like them and that's totally fine. I don't, so I'm never going to use those glasses with my Neo. Now that we've taken them off, yeah, that's Keanu. He's got the slightly squinted expression with the furrowed brow, his mouth is just a little bit parted. The skin texture is well painted, especially that fade between the beard and the rest of his cheeks. But the hair is far from perfect. Adding these extra pieces at the bottom, it just flares out the side of the hair, making it, to me, look a little bit too bulky. It's not to say it looks bad, it doesn't. Still, if they'd spent a little bit longer tweaking this head sculpt, I reckon it could have looked even better than it does. It's not the best Keanu Reeves head sculpt, but it's far from the worst. I am very curious to see if people do mod this because these extra pieces of hair, they're totally removable. You could take them off and then maybe use this head sculpt for a John Wick custom. The sculpt is decent, there's flow to it, there's individual strands at the bottom, it's all this rubbery plastic. You can even make out some very fine texture work as though pieces of hair are overlapping other pieces of hair. Now his outfit is just so simple. He's wearing a black long sleeve shirt with some little bits and pieces, some screen printing on the front for some reason. Got some faux buttons up top. He does have a high collar, although it sticks up underneath his hair. And I am worried about staining. The first Neo, the outfit did stain the base of the head sculpt. Something to be aware of. The rest of the jacket is fine. It's wired down the front if you care about that, and it's lined on the inside. The most exciting part about this outfit is the back, actually. All of these little pleats, they're fully wired, so if you want to get crazy with the posing, you totally can. But what went wrong with the costume design here? The first version of Neo, he had belts and straps, and the boots were interesting, and he had the harness. This one has none of that. It's just Keanu in a black long sleeve shirt and a black trench coat. Oh, and black pants too. He's got this stitched line down the front, no belt at all to speak of. He does have some socks on, so if you have him in kicking poses and the pants right up, you're not going to see base body, which is a good thing, because it's completely unpainted, glossy, nasty plastic. But the boots are a massive step down over the original ones. They're a lot lower cut, so that's good for posing. Got some buckles and straps sculpted into the surface, a little bit of leather grain texture. They're painted well, and on the underside, you've got some tread, and they've done a touch, a very small amount of dry brushing over the top, just to bring out that sculpt work. I shit you not, this is genuinely how Hot Toys want you to display your Neo. This bullet panel, it was a great idea in theory. In execution, it just looks dicky and stupid. It's not wide enough, it's not quite tall enough, and it's not optically clear enough. So you're pretty much just completely obscuring your view of the figure that you've spent money on. A very weird choice. Removing that panel, it looks a little bit better. I don't think the backdrop and the display base, they're not fooling anyone. Yes, adding the bright green and the lenticular effects, it makes this more exciting. It doesn't improve the look of the outfit, it still is pretty boring in my opinion. For a quick side-by-side comparison, Keanu versus Keanu, if you will. Both by Hot Toys. On the left we have Matrix Resurrections Neo, and on the right, John Wick from John Wick Chapter 2. John Wick is a little bit shorter than Neo, and to me that makes sense because Neo's wearing chonky boots, whereas John Wick, he's got dress shoes on. I prefer the head sculpt on Neo. Overall though, if I was just picking a Keanu figure to put in the display irregardless of the movie, I would be leaning towards John Wick. Is it just me, or does Johnny Silverhand look like he's almost in a completely different scale to Neo? His head is physically smaller in size, he's shorter, and everything is just shrunk down a little. Now, I don't know how many people are mixing their video game versions of Keanu with their live-action ones, Neo and Johnny Silverhand together. If you were going to, well, this is what that looks like. Why did you all have to go and recast Morpheus? Such a weird choice. I get it in context for the story. It's just that Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus is too iconic to recast. At least I thought so. This is the third-party version of Morpheus, and I think he doesn't scale as well as some people would like. On a display base, in a dynamic pose, maybe fighting with or against Neo, I reckon he's going to work just fine. And finally, the real Neo. Also by Hot Toys, but this time from Matrix 1. A lot of people consider Matrix 2 the best in the franchise. I have to give it to Matrix 1. It was such a groundbreaking film. And this Neo is just so much better than the new one. Look at the outfit. The outfit alone is superior. You've got belts, you've got the holsters, you've got the straps, the buckles, the boots have so much visual interest. And you can't beat the fact that it's just from a better movie. If Matrix Resurrections was superior, then we'd be having a completely different conversation. But I don't think it was, so I immediately have to give the win to the Neo on the right. For a game I like to call, is this the same head sculpt? Cyberpunk 2077, Matrix Resurrections Neo. Yes, it is the same head sculpt. The underlying face is identical between these two. The paint applications are significantly different. For some reason, the skin tone with Neo is redder. Not sure why. There's battle damage on Johnny Silverhand. You can see where they've attached the hair pieces. Up top, there's a seam for Johnny, and there's a seam for Neo. So the face is the same. They've just painted it differently, done a fully sculpted neck, and attached a different hair piece for Neo. Ooh, this is interesting. John Wick Chapter 2, which I never really loved. This head sculpt is just okay in my opinion. It's not the same as the new one. The mouth is more open on the left. Also, there's more detail for the furrowed brow and the crow's feet around his eyes. And the likeness, I think it's just better with Matrix Resurrections. For some reason, the Keanu likeness with the John Wick head sculpt just never quite hit as hard as this new one does. At least not for me. Which had me thinking, could you? Shit, yeah you can. Matrix Resurrections Neo head sculpt is totally serviceable as a John Wick Chapter 4 sculpt. It's not perfect thanks to these added hair pieces, you can remove them if you want to. And if you push it down on the neck connector, his neck looks far too short. The head sculpt does look a little bit too big for the body, I think that's just the hair. When you take out these pieces, everything should fit in proportion. Going over articulation, I'm not expecting any surprises here. It's a full fabric outfit and a pretty bog standard true type body. Starting off with Neo's head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck with a ball joint down the bottom. Looking forward to there, looking back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there, they will go forward and back on soft ratchets, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, and for the wrist pegs, it's a hinge and swivel. The torso is padded underneath this shirt, which means going forward is more restricted, going back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there, going out to there, I don't feel any padding underneath the pants, swivel at the upper thigh, double ratcheted bend at the knee going past 90. For his ankles, because his boots are so low cut, you get full access to the double ball peg. Good for forward and back, swivel, as well as a ton of ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is the sunglasses. They truly are that bad. They don't fit the head sculpt well, they're too big, they're too bulky. The second annoying thing is the ever impractical diamond style display base. It's back again. We've got a point at almost every corner except the front, so you can't back this up against the cabinet, you can't have it against the side of the display either, it literally has to be in the middle. I get it, it integrates into the diorama and I do like that. I don't think it's worth the trade-off of this thing being as large as it is. And the flight pole's all the way back here, so all of this real estate is completely wasted on Neo. I do, however, really like the lenticular effect. If only they'd done the lenticular effect and the backdrop, just with the display base being smaller. The third annoying thing is, how do you go from guns, lots of guns, to guns, no guns? He comes with hands, and that's it. Yes, the diorama thing is neat. It's not good enough to make up for the lack of guns. This dude needs to be a total badass. And I have seen the movie, I get why they didn't. It just would have been something that tipped this guy over the edge, because as it stands, this outfit is so boring. Adding some guns in the mix might have livened things up a little. The first cool thing is the head sculpt. Credit where credit's due, I think it's a pretty solid head sculpt. It's not perfect, but I think it's the best Keanu head sculpt we've seen so far. If they do make John Wick Chapter 4, well, then that'll probably take the crown, but right now, I give it to this Keanu head sculpt. The second cool thing, the pills. Don't get me wrong, kids, don't do drugs. In 1/6 scale, however, getting the red and blue pills, as iconic as they are to the Matrix, they just make me happy. And now being able to give these hands to our Matrix 1 Neo figure, these are some cross-compatible accessories. The third cool thing is his bullet effect panel, or backdrop, maybe front drop because it goes in front of him. It looks cool, and I'm tempted to use it, not with this Neo, with the first version of Neo. Imagine doing some bullet time poses and then having these bullets behind him rather than in front of him. I think that'd work a treat, and it's something I'm tempted to try in my collection. I just wish this wasn't clamshell plastic. It does feel a little bit cheap. And I think the Matrix print was unnecessary. This could have just been clear, and then I think it would have worked even better, especially for figure photography. I like the ripples, and I dig the bullet trails. They're also adjustable. If you want the longer bullet trails in these smaller holes or up the top, you can move everything around. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Matrix Resurrections Neo. Why? That's my only question. Why did they actually make this? Most companies were pulling out of the Matrix Resurrections license. In art, for example, they are no longer making their version of Neo. At least, I don't think they are. Hot Toys, though, they doubled down. They said, oh, well, you're not making it, we are, here's our Neo. And it's fine. The outfit is just the most basic outfit that I've seen from Hot Toys in a while. It's a black long jacket, black long sleeve shirt, black pants, and some pretty boring looking black shoes. At least they have some buckles and straps on them. He doesn't have any harnesses, he doesn't have any belts, doesn't have any weapons. Just Neo, some pills in his hands, some extra hands, and some terrible sunglasses. The saving grace is the head sculpt. I really like the head sculpt. Everything else, I could just take or leave. This guy, he's a very, very mid figure. Unless you're a massive fan of Matrix Resurrections and you must have this Neo in your collection, I would say skip him. Save the money you were going to spend on him and pick up the first Neo. I reckon that is the superior Neo, at least by Hot Toys. Ideally, we'd have a Matrix 2 Neo to pose alongside our Matrix 1 version. Right now, we've got this one, and we've got Matrix 1. So if I had to choose, I'd give it to the first one. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have Pay in 4 and a loyalty program. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.